Hey guys, Mars Singing here, bringing another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video. And so over on the JP Dokkan, we have had a tweet talking about the upcoming updates for Dokkan that we have seen previewed previously, referred to by most people in the community as Dokkan 2, as it is a huge overhaul to the game's UI, adding in a bunch of new animations, all new menu designs, new fonts, new text. Like everything is going to be looking very different. Obviously, the gameplay is not going to change, but from a menu perspective and everything, it's almost like we're looking at a whole new game. Hence the Dokkan 2 nickname. So we got some information about the stuff that we're going to see. Shout out to Air Dokkan, just captured a couple of the screenshots here that we can have a look at. So it's version 5.25.0. So a proper version update. This means an update in the App Store. It's going to be interesting to think about how big this update is going to be, because one of the things that we talk about a lot and people complain about quite a bit, which is a fair criticism, is how big the game is getting now, considering it is just a mobile game. I was saying previously before starting recording this on the stream that I have a phone for Dokkan because it's, for the channel. I imagine most people don't have a separate phone just for Dokkan. So if you have other games and other apps and all that kind of stuff, like a lot of people definitely concerned about the overall size that this game is going to be once we finish getting all the updates. But hopefully they're adding in a bunch of new animations, new sprites and stuff like that. Hopefully they can clear out some of the old stuff and make it a little bit more optimized, but I guess we will have to see. But I'm sure we'll cover that as and when it happens. So the two big main things about the update that we have already seen is that the passive display is now going to be separated into bullet points, organized by the different conditions, the different times in the turn that you can use those abilities, and similar things like that. So obviously they showed the example, I think it was of AGL UI Goku, but you can see the example here with the version Z Goku, and as you can see it's all split here into separate bullet points. So I'm just going to bring up version Z Goku here on my phone so we can compare. You guys won't be able to see it obviously, but just so I can compare it on screen to myself, because it is just a huge wall of text. So his passive starts off with key 2 attack and defense 159%, additional attack and defense 59% when performing a super. So now with the bullet points, you can see the top one is going to be just at start of turn basically, key 2, and then we've got attack and defense 159%, and then he also has on here the all allies key 3 and attack and defense 40%, which is lower down his passive normally, but it is another start of turn just passive effect. And then obviously we've already mentioned it, the on super attack and defense 59% when performing a super attack, that is now on a separate bullet point, which will be for when performing a super attack, right? So this makes things a lot easier when you're looking at these giant walls of text for new characters, to really determine exactly what they're doing and when they're doing them, right? Because that can be one of the things that's the most confusing with the huge wall of text, is sometimes parts are separated awkwardly by commas or semicolons, and you can't tell sometimes they're supposed to work together or not be together at all. So having them separated into these bullet points will make things a little bit easier to understand. Obviously these passives are still going to end up being quite long, but it also means they don't have to put in things like, obviously here where it says attack and defense 59%, they don't have to put in when performing a super attack. There's just a separate section for that, and then any abilities that are activated when attacking would all be under that heading as well. So hopefully with it being laid out this way, it'll be a little bit clearer, and especially when new units are coming out and stuff, it'll be a little bit easier to understand exactly what's going on. Because obviously when they show on Twitter, now that Global's actually posting all the details for new units and EZAs, when they post the information on Twitter, they basically just post what is essentially the in-game screenshots of the cards. So when a new unit is going to come out and they post that information on Twitter, the screenshot for the character card should have this format for the passive. So now when we get new character info come out, it'll be a lot easier to understand their full passive and all of their abilities. And then obviously they have the, this is just some of the screenshots, but they have the video for the updated animations and in-game gameplay. So if we go to the JP Dokkan page, we've got a video here. I'm not sure how loud it will be, but let's go ahead and we can pause the OST, and then I think I've got one that's a little bit more zoomed out for the video. There we go. So we can check this out here and see what's going on. It's a bit quiet. So we've got the new entry like versus screen with the new map screen. Man, it's going to take a while to get used to this, like the new menus. You got the top right corner, you can see turns, and then the menu button is now up there. The HP bar, of course, now shows you the percentage. Okay, even the numbers that come up above the unit is slightly different. The additional actually has the little like additional symbol as well on the cut-in. That's interesting. And the little loading thing in the bottom corner is now Kid Goku flying on Nimbus instead of like the Spirit Bomb one. That's interesting. Also, you got the actual stage background for the getting the rewards and stuff here, rather than the just being like a blank green or like menu screen. So that's interesting. So if we take a look back at this, so we've got the map screen. Obviously, you can see the health. The interesting thing we talked about in a previous video is in this bottom right corner, you can see it shows you your next rotation. Actually, no, on the map screen, it shows you your first rotation, right? So you've got Gohan and Piccolo, Yamcha, Chaozu. And then we go into the battle. We get our starting screen. And then obviously we can see here now we have our starting rotation. And now in the bottom right corner, we can see the next rotation. So we've got Krillin, Tien, and then Yamcha. Now, the thing is with this, without seeing the wheel, obviously from this, you can now tell, when you, obviously you're the one that built your team, from this, you can tell that like the other unit that we now haven't seen, that's the unit that's in slot 7. They're the units that's not going to appear for the first time until turn 3. But it's interesting that it doesn't now visually show you that. So obviously, like I say, as the person who built the team, you should know out of these 6 units that we can now see on the screen, you know which one is missing and is the one that's in slot 7. But it is interesting that it's one criticism that I saw somebody mention when this stuff first got posted is obviously here now on the map screen, you can only see your first rotation. So you don't know on this point who's on turn 2 and who's in slot 7, which for a lot of like challenge runs or difficult content, when you jump into the event, if you've got a really bad starting setup, like if you've got one of your leaders on turn 1 and the other one's in slot 7, at that point, it's sometimes worth just quitting the event and starting again. But with this new display, you can't see that. Now, they don't show it in the video, but I do wonder if maybe you can, before you actually like press the buttons, you know, to move around the map. I wonder if you can click on this thing in the bottom right and it will actually bring up a thing that shows the list or the wheel. Because I do think that would be helpful for some events. But yeah, the new starting like clash screen, I mean, that's fine. It is what it is. Like it's just a slightly different design. I'm not saying that thing's anything too crazy. It is interesting with these... the bits in like mid-fight with the animation numbers, especially like when you get hit. It's quite interesting. Yeah, just a different display of the font, a bit more italicized, but yeah, you see the cut-in comes up, but then above it, it also had a thing that I'm assuming just says like additional attack, and it had the little additional hidden potential icon. But yeah, I mean, there you go. So just put the music back on. But yeah, so that is the Dokkan 2 teaser. Now, with it being posted today, then we know this implies that it's obviously going to be coming out very soon. We know that the countdown celebration begins officially on the 19th, right? Because we start getting the 10 days to go login screens and everything on that day. The 19th is when we also get the first red zone stages. Then the 20th we get the anniversary special Battlefield Part 1. So all of this stuff, like new content, starts coming out by Sunday. Now normally when unit details and things like that get posted on Twitter, it's like 48 hours before. But Global, interestingly enough, hasn't posted anything about this. So I'm not sure, because the content is scheduled to come out on the 19th and the 20th, and we haven't seen anything in-game about maintenance or anything. I'm assuming that it's not going to start right when the countdown celebration starts. I believe it will start next week at some point, which means it's going to be part way through the countdown celebration, because the countdown celebration, there's going to be a bunch of stuff. Like obviously we've got new content coming out at the start, we've got login bonuses and all that stuff building up to the anniversary, but it's not like we get brand new content every day. So I imagine the countdown celebration is going to start on Sunday. We get the Battlefield Monday, and then probably around like the middle of the week, Wednesday or Thursday, we'll end up getting the maintenance. Hopefully by the beginning of next week we'll have the maintenance announcement, so we know exactly when it's going to be, but we should see this dropping next week. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. Have you warmed up to the visual changes for the menus and stuff? What do you think about the way the passives are being shown and all of that now? Let me know all your thoughts about the upcoming version update and Dokkan 2 down below in the comment section. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Master Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new, check out the links down below, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.